transcending history and the world, a tale of souls and swords eternally retold.
After a 6-year absence from the 3D fighting scene, Soul Calibur 6 is a triumphant return for Bandai Namco's arcade fighting series. It keeps true to its unique brand of weapon-based combat while sprinkling in just the right amount of new mechanics, setting it apart from its predecessors while keeping it competitive against all comers in the genre. Retelling the events of the original Soul Calibur 6 provides two very different but equally worthwhile story modes, but above all else, it's pure fun to play.
What?
Mechanically, everything that's made this series great returns in Soul Calibur 6. The 8-way run, the well-balanced fighting system of vertical and horizontal attacks, and the ever-so-satisfying weapon-based combat that makes every character feel distinct and powerful. New to the series is a mechanic called Reversal Edge, which is a counterattack that triggers a rock-paper-scissors style minigame to see who gets the next hit. On the surface, this might seem like an unwelcome luck-based guessing game on top of a duel of skill, but once you really dig into it, it opens the door for some really tricky mind games.
I strike without reserve. You'll live.
Soul charges grant players a buff and a set of new moves at the cost of a bar of meter, which is great because their addition adds another big option for your meter. You can either dump a bar into one huge critical edge that deals big damage up front, or use the soul charge to potentially deal more damage over a longer period of time. The rest of Soul Calibur 6's mechanics feel like a refinement of an already fantastic combat system, and even with all the new additions that could complicate things, it's still one of the easiest fighting games to jump into, start slamming buttons, and have a great time. Libra of Souls and Soul Chronicle are Soul Calibur 6's two new story modes. Rather than telling two different stories, they actually cover the same timeline in wildly different ways. The main attraction, Libra of Souls, starts slow but ultimately winds up being one of my favorite fighting game story modes. It's an RPG-esque mode that focuses on your created character. You'll level up, buy new gear and items, travel around a map screen, and complete missions, sometimes with wild conditions like beating a series of enemies in an arena as slippery as an ice rink. The static screen storytelling and lack of voice acting can make the plot a bit dry, but the RPG elements, challenging combat, and great progression kept me coming back for hours upon hours until it reached its satisfying conclusion. In contrast, Soul Chronicle is a more traditional single-player Soul Calibur story experience that has its own main story. You can also select each individual character and fight through a quick mini-campaign that focuses on what they're doing at a specific period on the timeline. It's a great inclusion and complements Libra of Souls to help tie the character roster together in a very cohesive fashion. The rest of Soul Calibur 6 is pretty standard. An arcade mode, training mode, and online play for both casual and competitive. Training mode is a bit bare bones and would have benefited from turning the combat tips buried deep in menus into its own guided mode. While online casual play was sparse pre-release, it still felt pretty smooth. And it's also worth mentioning that on a base Xbox One, long load times pervade every mode, with it taking as long as a full minute in between matches in arcade mode. Playing on an Xbox One X cut the load times by about half, as does playing the game on either a base PlayStation 4 or a PlayStation 4 Pro. The roster is disappointingly small at only 20 characters, not including one unlockable boss character and forthcoming DLC, but those that made the cut are almost all the series' favorites. And of course, I'd be remiss to not mention the fact that Geralt of Rivia from the Witcher series makes a special guest appearance as a playable character, with a fighting style that combines swordplay with his magical science that makes him feel both unique and right at home among the cast. The soul of Soul Calibur 6 is so strong that its minor issues don't do much to bring down what is one of the best entries in the series. The new Reversal Edge and Soul Charge mechanics add new layers of strategy and mind games, while the 1-2 punch of Libra of Soul and Soul Chronicle will provide dozens of hours of fantastic single-player content. And no matter your skill level, Soul Calibur 6 is just simply a blast to play. For more Soul Calibur 6, check out the first minutes of both Libra of Soul and Soul Chronicle. And for everything else, keep it here on IGN.